Okay, baby Pokemon are just horrible, especially when you're going against fully evolved Pokemon. So I decided to make Pokemon Scarlet my by becoming Paldea champion only using baby Pokemon. And I did. Here's how. So we decided to start with few Coco and have a face-off with a rival.
Okay, Dwaji, if I win, you have to eat a pickle sandwich.
Okay, and if I win, you and everyone watching have to subscribe to the channel.
You're not gonna win.
Huh? Okay, well, it looks like I won. You know what you have to do. And just to make it interesting, we're going to make sure to catch 25 different baby Pokemon. Mainly because we're going to need a lot of different Pokemon in order to beat the challenge, and we got to use some cool baby Pokemon for some content. But the rules are we can only use the first line of evolution of Pokemon, which are typically really weak, and we can't use any healing items in battle. That being said, we catch our first Pokemon, and it's a Psyduck, then a Paldea, Wooper, and then a Ralts. I mean, not counting this pig Pokemon here. We're kind of forced to catch this, but we just need coverage in general because these baby Pokemon are horrible. So after the face-off against our rival, we take out our Sprigatito, and with her Palmy, we're able to hit her with the Ember before we get knocked down. Then we switch to Wooper and use the immunity to our advantage, easily taking her out. Okay, no, we gotta skip all this. And this is where I realized that literally 5 of the gym battles footage were corrupt. But to be fair, it's pretty slow in the beginning, so we're just gonna jump into the most interesting part. Sorry in advance. So, after beating the grass gym with our few Coco and destroying this Team Star Dark base with Tinkatuff, this Pokemon is awesome, by the way. You know, I would go more in detail about how awesome she is, but you know, the footage just had to mess up. So here's a clip of us giving her a bath. In the beginning, it's not really a problem that we're using baby Pokemon, mainly because most of the Pokemon that we're going against aren't really fully evolved yet. So on the attempt against Kofu, we're able to take out his Veluza with our Tinkatuff, take out his Wug Trio with a single Giga Drain, and easily outhealed his Crabominable with a single Shroomish, which is actually pretty insane. But after we make a detour to catch a Larvitar and a Char Cadet, while training our Pokemon making these funny ass sandwiches and beating up these Blissies, I accidentally evolved my Few Coco, which really sucks because that means we can't use them anymore. And we finally make it to the 7th gym. We start with a Char Cadet and take out his Frostmoth with 2 flame charges, but he uses Tailwind before he goes down. We then get taken out by an Aqua Jet from Beartic. We're able to send out Meditite right after that, but Beartic flinches me with Icicle Crash. Luckily, we're able to hold on by the time the Tailwind runs out and give him a face palm. Next, Ascedian comes out and we just use High Jump Kick to take it out. And when his Altaria came out, we got extremely lucky and dodged his Hurricane to take him out. So you may be asking, how the heck does this little psychic monkey have the ability to take down fully evolved Pokemon in one shot? If you didn't know, Meditite has the ability called Pure Power, which makes his attack doubled in battle. So after we caught most of the Pokemon that we would probably need in order to beat the end of the game and leveled up our Pokemon a decent amount, we finally make it to the last badge and we decided to take on the Psychic Gym last. We start with a Sneasel and use Foul Play twice to take out her Giraffe as they get a Reflector. Then I use my Magnetite and Terrasilize it to take out her Garbodor. A Sparta comes out and we decided to switch to Sneasel. After hitting him with a Foul Play and taking a Shadow Ball, we use Home Claw to increase the Sparta's attack with their ability Opportunities, so we can land a hard hitting Foul Play right when the Reflect Loop wears off. Now, her Florges comes out. I hope I'm saying that right. And we just use Foul Play on it right when it turns into a Psychic type. We get taken out, but then we switch to our Magnemite, almost take her out with Flash Cannon, but that wasn't even enough to beat her. And holy crap, our attack power is actually really weak. We're able to swap the Tinkaton and finally take out her Florges with a Skitter Smack for the final gym badge. But this is where the challenge really starts to pick up. At this point, all of our Pokemon we're going against are in their 3rd evolution and are a giant challenge. For example, Iria at the fighting base. We start by getting outsped by her Toxicroak, then taking it out with a Zen Headbutt. We then got our Meditite to tough out a close combat by the power of love and get taken out by Lucario. We're then able to switch to Mud Spray and use Earthquake, but we don't take him out. We switch to Buizel and unfortunately, he couldn't take a hit. Finally, we switch to Tinkatuff and take him out. But now Passimian comes out. It takes me out immediately with a close combat. I tried Terrasilizing and using Moonblast, and I was able to take down the Passimian. But when her Starmobile comes out, she just easily takes me out with a spin out. And my Scyther couldn't even take out her car at all. She overpowered my team so many times despite me being the same level as her. I had no choice but to get some pickles and make some ham sandwiches to grind on some Blissies. This whole entire video was me just grinding. Man, my sandwiches look pretty good. Wouldn't you say so? But only after leveling up my Pokemon 10 extra levels was I actually able to take on all of her Pokemon. To terrestrialize my Floette in the beginning, take a close combat from Annihilate and take it out after his defense drop. But because we leveled up her Pokemon a decent amount, we were actually able to take out the Passman that came out. We switched to Mudspray when her Lucario comes out, and us leveling up actually gave us enough power to one-shot her Lucario this time. Finally, her Starmobile comes out. We start using Earthquake, but then I realized I made a critical error. She has stamina, which means her defense raises every single attack. Eventually, she takes me out, and we tried using Play Rough to balance out her shift gears, raising her attack. We do manage to get an attack drop. Then we had to switch to Buizel. We started using Hydro Pump to negate all of her stat increases, and we were finally able to take out her Starmobile with Scyther after sacrificing all of my Pokemon. But now we're in the end game, and the battles get extremely difficult. So to train my Pokemon even further and to test my strength in general, I decided to finish off the Starfall path, and that required me to fight the Director. He sends out Oranguru as we pin needle it with their cactus, but he yawns me, so I switch out to Tinkatuff and started using Skitter Smack to lower his special attack as he yawned me. I go to sleep as he uses Reflect and just chip me down below half before I was finally able to take him out. But now the Reflect is out, so when his Houndoom came out, I switched to Buizel and used Wave Crash to take him out, taking myself out in the process, unfortunately. No, I do not want to learn Cotton Spore. Now as Abomasnow comes out and uses Aurora Veil as we Flash Cannon doing absolutely no damage. But we managed to get a Thunder Wave off right before he takes us down. We swap the Meditate and try to finish it off with a Force Palm, but he aided and hit me with a hard-hitting Wood Hammer, taking himself out in the process. His Poltegeist then comes out and destroys my Meditate, Cancia, and Will-O-Wisp my Scyther. I decided to use Agility and Swords Dance twice and terrestrialize into a Flying type. I was able to one-shot the Poltegeist and his Among Us. But when his Water Duck came out, he survived and took out the rest of my Pokemon, despite me being the same, if not higher level than him. I just didn't have enough firepower to take him out. So my solution to that was EV training, because it seemed like getting some more firepower in bulk would go a long way against these fully evolved Pokemon. So I EV trained my attack EVs with the Power Bracer, leveled up some useful Pokemon like Sneasel and Buizel, and maxed out most of my team's health EVs by beating Blissey's. We then stopped by Delibird Presence to get a Quick Claw. Putting a Quick Claw on them for the chance to get my stronger Pokemon the ability to move first may give me the advantage. Oranguru comes out and we use Beat Up on it with Sneasel. It uses Yawn on me, so I'm forced to just take it out and go to sleep. Next turn, Houndoom comes out, so we use Buizel to take it out. Then Abomasnow comes out. We decided to swap to our Meditate that was faster than it to land a high jump kick, easily taking it out. When his Poltegeist came out, we paralyzed it and got burned as its Shell Smash. We just used Buizel to use Bite to take it out. And on his Amoonguss, we were able to one-shot it with the Wing Attack, but we got paralyzed by Effect Spore. So when his Water Duck came out, we used a Wing Attack right before going down to an Ice Spinner. We sacked Magnemite, then we swapped the Meditate and used Force Palm on his Water Duck. It doesn't take him out. And he uses Aqua Step, raising his speed by 1. So when we go down, what the heck? Okay, our Pokemon just survived by the power of love again. But finally taking him out, it's looking like our power increased a decent amount. Mainly because for Penny, we just easily took her out by using Agility and Swords Dancing with our Scyther. But after beating her, I was finally confident enough to face the Elite Four. In this generation, they actually allow you to swap your Pokemon in between the battles. So we had to make sure we could utilize all the baby Pokemon in our arsenal in order to get the win. We passed the Elite Four test and make our way inside to face the ground member. Then I noticed I didn't even bring any healing items. So I was gonna have to strategically heal all of my Pokemon while simultaneously trying to find a way to beat all of the Elite Four members with these amount of healing items. I started off with my Buizel, then I switched to Floette. I tanked 2 Earth Powers and take it out with a Petal Dance. Then I swapped to Buizel on Camerupt, Terrestrialize, and used Liquidation to take it out in 1 hit. Then his Dolphin came out. We used 2 Liquidations to take that out, but we get so low, we're forced to switch to Meditite when her Duck Trio comes out. And I took my chances with a High Jump Kick, taking it out in 1 hit. Predicting her to Terrestrialize, I used High Jump Kick on her last Pokemon, but she decided to use Protect, halving my health. But we're able to take her out the very next turn in 1 hit. Now it's time to face the best child trainer in Pokemon Scarlet. She has all Steel type Pokemon, and I had to strategize who to bring on the team. I ended up bringing Mudbray and giving a Quick Claw to Charcadet. I started the battle and started abusing the stamina ability, easily taking out her Copperaja, but when her Corviknight came in, she just walled my whole entire team. So I had to reset. This time I decided to bring a Magnemite instead of the Charcadet because his stats were just really bad and had no EVs. And Magnemite has Sturdy, and he has the ability to actually hit Corviknight. And I decided to bring Scyther for some firepower. I started with Swords Dance with Scyther as Copperaja got Rocks up. and we wing attacked it twice to take it out. But we get knocked down to 50% in the process. Next, her Magnezone comes out, so we send out Mudbray. We use Earthquake to knock him down to Sturdy, survive the hit, and take him down the next turn. Now Corviknight comes out. We sent out Magnemite and used Thunder Wave, anticipating for him to use Iron Defense. We landed, and we go down the very next turn after discharging it. Unfortunately, we didn't have Sturdy because Copperajah used Stealth Rocks in the beginning of the battle. But we were able to switch to Meditite, knowing that we're going to be faster than him, and we use High Jump Kick to take out her Corviknight in one shot. Next, her Bronzong comes out. So we swapped the Sneasel, and I used Beat Up. And it did a decent amount of damage, knocking her right below half, but we get knocked out by the Iron Head. Fortunately, we did put her in range to get knocked out by a Wave Crash. And finally, her Tinkaton comes out. But ultimately, as she terrestrializes into a Steel type, we use Wave Crash, almost taking her out. But we outspeed her the very next turn, knocking us out in the process, but winning the battle. Now, this is where the challenge gets even harder. We have to go against Larry with his Flying type Pokemon, and look at our team versus our healing items. Yeah, this is bad. So we decided to heal up everyone, take out Tinkatuff for Scyther. We start the battle with Meditite, and we terrestrialize into a Psychic type and use Zen Headbutt, outspeeding the Tropius, almost taking it out, but getting hit by a Solar Beam the very next turn as we take it out. When Staraptor comes out, we swap the Magnemite, and we use our Sturdy ability to get a Thunder Wave off and survive a close combat. That allowed us to outspeed the Staraptor the very next turn and use Discharge to take it out. Altaria then comes out, and I used 2 Play Roughs to take it out with Tinkatuff. When his Electric Bird came out, we just used Beat Up, almost take it out, and swapped out to our Buizel to take it out. And finally, his Flamingo came out. We outsped it with Tinkatuff and played roughed it twice and easily took it out with Weasel. We won, but we have 1 member left. The Dragon type, and we only have 2 revives and 4 healing items left. We revived Tinkatuff and Sneasel, swapped out Magnemite for Scyther, and swapped Tinkatuff for Floette, mainly because Floette has way more firepower than Tinkatuff. We start the battle with Floette and terrestrialize and use Moonblast to take out Noivern. Swap the Mudbray on Dragly, and swap the Scyther and use 2 X-Scissors to take out Flapple. We go down to Haxorus, then we swap the Sneasel and try to use Hone Claws, but we went down against his Brock move. The next turn, we hit it with a High Jump Kick. Excalibur then comes out and uses Glaive Rush, but we get extremely lucky as our Pokemon loves us and survives, and uses High Jump Kick to take out his Excalibur for the win. And now we get healed, and it's time to take on the champion. We start with Floette against her Esparda. We use Wish and immediately switch to Scyther. We take a Lunar Crash but get healed. We swap the Sneasel, use Screech with a Quick Claw activation. Then we use Beat Up, but man, the Reflect really saved her. We almost took her out, but we got knocked out. The very next turn, Reflect goes down, and I use X-Scissor to knock it out. Land another X-Scissor on the King Gambit that comes out, and he takes me down with a Stone Edge. Swap the Mudbray, survive, and Earthquake it. Veluza comes out, and we swap the Floette. We use Petal Dance, survive a Liquidation, then we get taken down by Aqua Jet. The rain started pouring, so we used this opportunity to swap to our Buizel, terrestrialize, and use Wave Crash on Veluza, taking it out. Then we switch to Meditite on the Go-Go, High Jump Kick for a 1-hit KO. Right after that, Avalok comes out, and we do the same. Finally, her Glamora comes out and terrestrializes and uses Dazzling Gleam. But we had enough HP to barely survive it and land a High Jump Kick for the KO. And just like that, we beat Pokemon Scarlet with only baby Pokemon. It was very challenging to get to this point, but we did it. And now we have to have our final battle against Nemona. She starts by knocking out my Buizel with a Stone Edge. We're able to swap to Mudbray and use Earthquake and take her out.
Wow, I can't believe I helped you with tight matchups, and now you're beating me because of it.
Hey, yo, Nemona, you can't even say that. You didn't even teach me anything. We're then able to take out her Goodra with Mudbray using Earthquake. Then when her Palmy comes out, we swap the Meditite and use High Jump Kick on Palmy. Then her Dun Spars. Then her Steel Worm. Then we finally finish off the battle using Wing Attack with Scyther. Why you gotta do that to me? Dang, Nemona. I'm really sorry that I beat your whole entire team and the Elite Four only using baby Pokemon. I didn't mean to make you cry.
Nah, don't play that shit. I have more Pokemon. I want a rematch right now.
And that's it. That's how I beat Pokemon Scarlet only using baby Pokemon. If you enjoyed the video, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I post videos just like this every single week, so if you enjoyed, hit the notification bell. And thank you for watching.